No Nick Kurtz in there after suffering a shoulder injury yesterday. So away we go to Merrick Houston from Evan Blanco, sophomore lefty from Woburn, Massachusetts, who makes his 5th start of the season and his 5th career start. A 3.00 ERA in 18 innings. So 0-2 to start out from Blanco. You mentioned the 26 runs combined yesterday. A lot of that happened in the 2nd inning, and it stayed that way the whole night. Blanco's 0-2 is fouled back by Houston.
Fastball heavy so far for Blanco, which really he is. He'll throw that fastball over 60% of the time, even though it's not 97, 98 like we see from Burns. It's still his most comfortable pitch.
Here comes another 0-2. Fades outside. It's a very good changeup as well for him.
He's been consistent this year too. 24 appearances last year, but all out of the bullpen. And they thought the stuff matched to put him in the starting role, and so far this year in 4 starts, it's looked that way.
There's 1-2. Houston pulls it in the air to left. Shades on for Harrison Didowick, who can't make the catch. Staring up at the sun in that part of the day, in that part of the outfield. And Merrick Houston is at second to start this middle game of the series.
You could see right away when this ball went in the outfield, watch Didowick, and the glove goes up and he's battling. He does not see it. When you see guys squatting in the outfield, it's kind of the universal sign of I don't see it. And it looked like he picked it up maybe right at the last minute, but off his glove. Should go as a double, which off the bat looked like it was just a lazy fly ball out.
It indeed does for Merrick Houston. And so a man in scoring position to start out for this Wake offense. And here's the freshman left fielder, Javar Williams, who rolls it up the middle. Sliding stab Henry Godbout for the first down. Houston advances to third.
We'll talk more about Williams as the night goes on. The freshman had a big night last night. He had 3 hits, but that's pretty sporty right there by Godbout. Slides, goes backhand side, immediately puts his right foot in the dirt, throws Williams out.
So 1 away for Evan Blanco. And Houston at third for the 3-hitter for Wake Forest, the Ball State transfer, and third baseman Adam Tellier takes a changeup to start out. Tellier, the team leader in OPS, better than 1,200. 7 home runs, including a grand slam in the 2nd inning last night in the opener. Cracked open a 5-zip lead for Wake. Hits this one through the right side, a base hit, and it scores Houston, and the Deeks are on the board first here in Charlottesville.
Blanco went first pitch changeup right there, got out ahead, and they're trying to stick this fastball away, but watch where it tails. You can see the glove right there of Ethan Anderson come back over to the middle of the plate, and it kind of get in on the hands of Tellier a little bit, but he got enough barrel to it to shoot it to right, get the Deeks on the board.
So a little more offense building off last night already. And Wake gets it started. Brings up the cleanup man, the D2 transfer in center field today, Seaver King. Who we told you is another highly regarded prospect. 6th on Kylie McDaniel's MLB draft board. And a preseason 3rd-team All-American, according to D1 Baseball. 3 hits, couple runs last night in the opener. It's a Wake offense that is only tied for 12th in the ACC in runs per game. It's about 9 a game, which you like, but not what you're accustomed to necessarily from Wake Forest. Good off speed from Blanco.
And for that offense, we talk about no Nick Kurtz, and it sounds like that's 3 to 4 weeks ideally. That is a hit for this club. That's one of the best offensive players in the country, and for Blanco, a good job of using that changeup. We talked about how good the fastball is and how reliant he is on that pitch. Changeup so far, especially against the righties, and that's his main secondary pitch to right-handed hitters. Changeup's been good. That time probably 6 inches off the plate. Seaver King couldn't hold up.
So the first strikeout for Evan Blanco And he gets his second out here in the first. So with Tellier aboard to the 5 spot in the Wake lineup for the veteran DH Jake Reinisch. Having a great bounce back season. Second on the team in OPS at a tick above 1,200. Second on the team in walks and an OBP near 500 for Reinisch. Coming into the weekend, he had homered in 3 straight games. Cuts through the breaking ball there, and it's 1-1.
You can see already this inning, Blanco shows you why they were comfortable with him moving into the starting role. Against lefties, fastball slider primarily. Against righties, fastball changeup, but 2 different off-speed pitches based on righty or lefty. There's another one.
Right back to it, 1-2. Chris, Quint, thank you very much. We go from the lacrosse field to the baseball diamond, and we welcome you to Charlottesville, Virginia, for one of the best and biggest series in all of college baseball this weekend. We've got a sold-out dish here in Charlottesville for Wake Forest, number 7 in the country, and Virginia, 17th in the country. With Kyle Peterson, Mike Monaco with you. Wake Forest has a run here in the top of the first on a run-scoring single from Adam Tellier against Evan Blanco, who now runs the count full against the 5th man in the Wake Forest lineup, Jake Reinisch. And KP, this is a huge series that started yesterday with a ton of offense, and Virginia put up 16 in a win. Man at second here, and Reinisch works a walk. So there's 2 on with 2 outs for the Deeks.
I mean, you get the preseason #1 team in Wake Forest. It was #1 until last weekend when Duke beat them 2 out of 3 in Winston-Salem, and a Virginia club coming off another trip to Omaha. I think when you look at both, it's legitimate top 8 national seed, definitely host type clubs, and they've shown it so far in the season.
On an awesome stage on a Chamber of Commerce type of Saturday afternoon here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Brings up the first baseman Jack Winney, and he takes a strike. For Wake Forest, it's 12-5, 1-3 to start out in the ACC. Series loss against Duke in Winston-Salem last weekend, and so the Deeks find themselves on a 3-game losing streak, and they've dropped 4 of 5. They only lost back-to-back games last year 1 time, and it was the final 2 games of the season against LSU. So it's a little bit different right now for Tom Walters' group.
Those 2 games against LSU, 2 of the best college baseball games I think I've ever seen in my life.
Amen. And you've seen a lot of them.
I've seen a few. Yeah.
So an early lead for number 7 now, Wake Forest, and a ball and 2 strikes on the sophomore Winney, who, if you're just joining us, is getting the start because Nick Kurtz, the superstar for Wake, injured yesterday. And Winney skies this one into the sunny sky, and Henry Godbout puts it away to end the top of the first. Wake Forest off 6 innings of 2-hit ball against number 12 Duke at the time last weekend in Winston-Salem with 14 strikeouts. First pitch to Griff O'Farrell is fouled back. 98 out of the chute, and that's where Burns sits with his fastball. It's a really good Virginia lineup that is 2nd in the ACC in runs per game. Another heater from Burns, and it's 0-2. And so the fastball he's throwing about 60% of the time. And you mentioned he's gotten even better at Wake. It shows in that pitch. Slider just misses, and it's 1-2 on the stud shortstop for Virginia. O'Farrell, a junior now, preseason 2nd-team All-American. Lifts this one foul outside of first. Got big-time draft prospects, preseason All-Americans, returning All-Americans, all over the place.
It's good to be hanging out. Not a bad time to be in Charlottesville.
Breaking ball snapped in, and that is sick from Burns.
That was the curveball, and you can see the different movement on both. Velocity is a little bit different, but the movement is very different for Burns. Slider, he may throw you some 90-mile-an-hour sliders today. This one is more top to bottom. Look at Cameron Gill, who's caught him every time this year. Just sit and wait for it. I mean, you got to dial up for 98, and you got to adjust to 83 with that movement.
Come back with 98 to start out the DH for Virginia. Anthony Stefan, who's back in the lineup after not starting yesterday with a minor wrist injury. Checked his swing, but went around on 99, according to Jeff Gosney. So it's 0-2 from the quick working Chase Burns. He deals and strikes out Stefan. K-struts to begin your afternoon for Chase Burns.
A couple of quick ones, and it's been efficient to get to that point. Talking to Brian O'Connor before the game just about approach when you're facing a guy like Burns. And I think the main message to these Virginia hitters is you're going to swing and miss some. Like, don't let it hurt your feelings. He's going to do that to you sometimes, but when he makes a mistake, we just try to get him. He's been sharp early.
Brings up Casey Sauke. Takes 99 dotted at the knees to the junior right fielder with an OPS better than 1100. Couple of hits yesterday in the UVA win. 0-2, and this is clockwork from Chase Burns out of the chute.
Well, and for anybody that's facing Burns, and historically this has been the case, you know, the hope is let's drive that pitch count up. It's a lot tougher to drive the pitch count up when he's throwing strike 1 and strike 2 right away.
9 out of his 10 pitches so far have been strikes. At his 0-2, Sauke lifts this one foul. Brian O'Connor told us a couple of days ago that Casey Sauke is starting out having the best season in his 3 years here in Charlottesville, making up for the loss of the likes of Teal and Geloff. Swung on and missed. Burns to the slider that time, and he shows the crowd for 2 top teams in the country. Austin Hawk takes ball 1 from Evan Blanco to start the second. Capacity here is just south of 6,000. And they have packed this place, especially over the last couple of seasons. 1-1 on the second baseman in the 7 spot for Wake. And by the way, we've got 30 scouts in attendance as well. 30 scout tickets were issued. And I would guess all of them curious about the starting pitcher we just saw for Wake Forest.
Yeah, I would tell you, if you're picking after about 5, focus on everybody else. Because the guy that's on the mound for Wake, he's not going to be there after 5.
1-2 to Hawk, and he fouls it back from Blanco. I was talking with some Red Sox fans this week, and they said, well, at the start of the season, we were hopeful that Chase Burns would last to pick 12, and now we've moved on to scouring other possibilities.
He ain't going to be there.
That's downstairs on a changeup. 2-2. To the younger brother of Tommy Hawk, one of the stars of last year's Wake Forest team that went to Omaha.
He started in North Carolina. Austin Hawk at UNC for a year, makes a shift this year to Wake.
Up the ladder, Blanco's got to strike out his second. There's one gone in the second. Well, we told you that Wake Forest is without the services today of their superstar first baseman, Nick Kurtz. This was last night in the opener, and you want to keep an eye on his right shoulder. There's a diving bid early, and then there was a pickoff attempt as well, and you can see his reaction.
Yeah, when he doubled over right there, there's obviously injury history with that right shoulder. There was ice on that right shoulder afterwards. It was in a sling a little bit later on. We talked to Tom Walter about it today, and their hope is 3 to 4 weeks, which is, I mean, it's a giant hurt for anybody, but this dude's one of the best offensive players in the country. Even though the numbers haven't necessarily been there this year, the history indicates it was coming. But now it's, it'll be midway through the ACC season. Best case scenario that they get Kurtz back.
And Tom Walter did say that definitively, that it won't be less than 3 to 4 weeks for Nick Kurtz. Cam Gill, the catcher, batting in the 8th spot, takes a strike, and it's 1-2. And in Kurtz, you're talking about another projected top 5 pick. Again, a star of the highest order in the college game. 1-2, and Gill bounces this one left side at Griff O'Farrell. couple quick outs in the second for Evan Blanco.
I mean, in Wake, you've got two guys that are going to go in the first round. Seaver King could find himself in the first round. Griff O'Farrell's going to be up the board for somebody for sure. Makes sense there's 30 scouts here today. There's a few guys out there that have a chance to play this game for a while.
A couple guys for Wake as well. You won't see pitching today, but could be first rounders as well. And Josh Hartle, Michael Massey, loaded with Kylie McDaniel approved prospects. Yeah, that's the area you can find those 30. There's Cam Nelson, the right fielder and freshman out of the 9 spot. One of a couple of freshmen in the lineup again, and in the outfield for Tom Walter and Wake. Yeah, this is according to Kylie on his draft board from a couple of weeks ago. Kurtz at 3, Burns at 4, Seaver King at 6, all in the top 10. And you're talking about Burns and Hagen Smith of Arkansas for best college draft prospect as far as pitchers go. This is on the ground towards second. Henry Godbout collects, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the second for Evan Blanco.
46% swing and miss rate on the fastball. Better than anybody else in the big leagues. The whiff rate on the slider, better than anybody else in the big leagues. And the anybody else in the big leagues on the slider, Spencer Strider. The stuff is real.
That is a great breaking ball to Henry Ford. And yes, it generates whiff. As Burns faces the cleanup man and freshman first baseman for Virginia. Off to a great start in his first year. Slices this one behind first, and it drops down. Foul. And you said it early on in the first, that Burns has taken it to a different level from a guy who was really good in 2 years in Knoxville.
The one he was, I think the one thing that Burns has changed this year, has gotten better this year, is the misses last year at times could be really big misfires. To where, I mean, it's a 1.5 to 2 feet arm side miss. And in talking to Corey Mascara, the pitching coach of this Wake Forest team, the one thing that when they knew they had a chance to get Chase Burns, which he said, I didn't really know that we had a chance to get Chase Burns, but when they did, then he started diving into what he looked like on the mound. They've pushed him more towards the third base side of the rubber. Think that plays the stuff up. Good Lord, there's another one. Slider right there. But what it's done is it's made the fastball have even more carry, and not just the move, but some of the other mechanical changes. So that fastball has more ride than it has in the past, and the slider has gotten even better along the way. Keeps that back heel on the rubber a little bit longer than he used to, generating more power towards home plate. He's now struck out the first 4 he's faced today against one of the better offenses in the country.
He has started with first pitch strikes to all 5 hitters, as Harrison Didowick, the left fielder, having a sophomore breakout season, fouled that one off himself. Is that a 93-mile-an-hour change?
That's exactly what it was. Yes. Wow. And it was a good one. I mean, it got a swing and miss right there.
Against one of the best bats Virginia's had this year. 0-2. That is bounced foul.
2 in a row. Yeah, Corey Scarlett was talking about that before the game. He's like, the changeup's good. But you just battle, do I even really call it? Because does it give somebody a chance? Well, the one thing it does is it'll get him off the fastball a little bit more, but that's 2 good ones in a row.
0-2 again. Didowick pulls it on a line to right, and a diving bid, and Cam Nelson makes the catch. Burns loves it. 2 down.
Tell you what, Didowick put a pretty good move on this thing, because that's after back-to-back changeups. Watch the route in the quiet head out in right field by Cam Nelson. That's not an easy one for an outfielder. The ball that's hit directly at you, that's hit hard. Obviously, the first move is you want to make sure it doesn't get over your head, but direct route to it, dives, keeps his head right on it. The first ball that's really been put into play today, Nelson makes a beauty on the right.
It had been 4 straight strikeouts to start the outing for Chase Burns. So he's got 2 outs now, and it brings up Henry Godbout. A ball and a strike on the Virginia second baseman. It's been a revelation with the bat as well for Brian O'Connor. Skies this one to left, toward the seats, and gone! Henry Godbout goes deep off Chase Burns, and we're tied at 1.
Talking about the breakout season of Godbout, and it just keeps getting better. You got to hunt something, whatever it is. It feels like you got to go up and say you're going to hunt fastball, you're going to hunt slider, or Godbout right here is hunting fastball. And that's usually where Burns wants to throw it. It's that elevated fastball. Most guys will swing underneath it. Godbout squared it up and squared the game up.
And now time called before the first pitch to Ethan Anderson. What a season for Henry Godbout. Sophomore from Brooklyn, started most of last year at second base, had an OPS in the 700s. This year, the team leader in OPS, up near 1,200, and he has been fabulous. So 1-1 hour score in the middle game. Anderson, the switch hitting catcher, takes low from Burns at 99, and it's 2-0.
Got about 3 home runs all season last year. That was number 3 already this year.
Guy who didn't strike out in his first 48 at bats this year. This one goes all the way to the backstop.
I heard the guys last night saying he was one of the last 3 guys in the country, regular players, to not punch out.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it's decent, and it's not like he's slapping balls the other way. I mean, OPS above 1,100 coming in.
3-0, and Anderson takes a knee-high strike. And this crowd is now a little bit more engaged after the big fly ties it from Henry Godbout. Chase Burns, 3-1. Cut and a miss. How do you differentiate the slider and the curveball? Because it is pretty similar shape in some ways.
Yeah, velocity's the biggest one. I mean, the curveball that he struck out Stefan at was 83 miles an hour. But sometimes he'll show you those, like the 87s and the 88s that should be sliders, but the curveball should be 82, 83, 84 with a little bit more top to bottom. When they start becoming one, that's not necessarily a good thing.
Payoff. Anderson rolls it left side, and it caroms away from Adam Tellier. And Wake Forest, who's had some trouble defensively the last couple of weekends, couldn't secure that, and Anderson is on with 2 outs in the second.
Barrel it up, good things can happen, and Anderson does right there. It's going to go as an error. Tellier not really expecting a backside ground ball that's a 1-hop missile at you right here, but it's exactly what he got. 2 hops, I guess. Hit twice on the grass, stayed down a little bit longer than Tellier thought. After the Godbout home run, Ethan Anderson's on there.
And it brings up the 8-hole hitter, the freshman third baseman Eric Becker, who couldn't check his swing. He's out of Thiels, New York. Came off the bench at third base last night. Got an AB in the game, and then gets the start today, part of a platoon with Luke Hansen. Burns will check on Anderson. Pair of Omaha teams from last season. Wake at 12-5, 1-3 in the ACC. Virginia 15-3 and 2-2 in the league. Runner goes, and this one is driven in the air to right with Nelson going back to the track, and he has room to make the catch. One perch. They've been ranked first in every regular season poll going back to May 8th of last year. But he told us coming into the weekend, there are probably people in panic mode. I'm not. I think we're trending in the right direction. Now, granted, that was before the Nick Kurtz injury yesterday. Merrick Houston leads off in the third against Evan Blanco.
Yeah, they're still pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I mean, a week doesn't necessarily make for a bad year, and obviously it has not been an ideal week for Wake Forest, throwing the Kurtz injury yesterday to make it even worse. But we're still a quarter of the way through the season right now. 4 games into the ACC schedule. Take a little time left.
Josh Hartle hasn't necessarily been Josh Hartle, in Tom Walter's words. Same had been true of Nick Kurtz before the injury. And they're still waiting on Michael Massey to get to the level that they expected, moving him to the rotation. Another preseason All-American. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury, and Tom Walter told us pregame it's TBD if he's able to pitch at all tomorrow. 2-2 to Merrick Houston is bounced gently left side. Eric Becker throws on the run for the first down. The ACC baseball game of the week features here having a huge sophomore season, a guy who was so highly touted coming in last year. Javar Williams bats with the bases empty and 1 out in the 3rd against Blanco, who's now set down 5 in a row. Is 1-0. Snaps in for a strike. A lot to like about Javar Williams. Can run. He's a plus defender. Tom Walter was telling us, and he had 3 hits yesterday. 1-2.
You got the lineup promotion.
Yeah.
Move all the way up into the 2-hole. That's a little bit different. We were talking to Tom Walter before the game. I said, when you do that, do you tell guys or do you just post it and let them see it? He goes, a little bit of both sometimes. He said, but I didn't say anything today, so let's see how he reacts to it.
Yeah, I said, we'll check back in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
And we'll see if I made the right call or not. Williams from Dartmouth, Massachusetts, out of Tabor Academy. Same high school that produced Sean Sullivan, stud lefty for Wake last year, who went in the 2nd round of the Rockies. 1-2 up the ladder is a strikeout for Blanco, and he is settled in. 3rd K, 2nd out of the 3rd. Brings up Adam Tellier for the 2nd time today, and last night he had a grand slam early.
Yeah, and this is what it looked like. Wake may run away at high. 5 runs early for Wake. They were off, but the Virginia offense got going and kind of ran away and hid themselves.
Ball 1 to start. Tellier, who had a run-scoring single through the right side back in the 1st. Grand Slam's nothing new for Tellier. MAC championship game with Ball State last year. Grand Slam in the top of the 9th to help punch a ticket to regionals for the Cardinals.
You ever hit a Grand Slam, like at any level of baseball?
I had warning track power in Little League, so I'll
no.
let you guess. No.
I didn't either. That's why I'm looking for what the reaction is. I've never done it. Given up Grand Slams. I know what that reaction is.
Do you have a favorite of those?
That I gave up? That's kind of like you put it in this area of your brain that you hope you never really go to again. There's a lot in there.
The unaccessible regions. 1-2. Tellier takes the changeup down.
Good take. That's the one Blanco wants him to go after. Let's see if he comes back and elevates that fastball, which is kind of where he's lived against righties. Elevate the fastball. He's not afraid to go glove side with it, or else back-to-back try to run the changeup down and away again.
Here's 2-2. Tellier got jammed, but he floats it into center field, and he's got his 2nd hit of the afternoon. 2-strike, 2-out single for Adam Tellier, and a base runner for Wake in the 3rd.
That's a good piece because you could see Ethan Anderson. It was exactly where he wanted it. He moved in. They were trying to go fastball elevated in, but Tellier just got enough on it. You don't need to barrel it up with 2 strikes. Just something to keep the inning going.
And Tellier does just that for Seaver King. Cleanup man and center fielder struck out on a changeup his first time against Blanco. I remember Brian O'Connor saying last year about Evan Blanco as a freshman that there's something special about him. He's used a lot as a reliever, and now a weekend starter in year 2 on the grounds. He's a premium strike thrower. 69% strikes coming in. That's in the 93rd percentile in the country. On average in D1, guys are throwing strikes 61% of the time. He's at about 70. Off speed to start out Seaver King. A 3.04 ERA last year. Who gradually expanded his role. Evan Blanco over the course of that rookie season. Runner goes. The pitch is rolled left side. Past the dive of Becker and past O'Farrell into left. Tellier first to third with him off with the pitch. And Wake Forest has him at the corners with 2 outs in the third.
Wake Forest showing you what happens if you just put it in play. Neither one of these balls were hit hard in this inning. It's a changeup, maybe a little bit more elevated than Blanco wants right there, but he's got King all the way out in front of it. Just put it in a tough spot. Becker lays out. O'Farrell does the same, finds its way into left. Tellier was off and running on the pitch, so he goes first to third. So 2 balls that off the bat were probably 65, 70 miles an hour, both find a home. Now the Deeks have something going here with 2 outs.
And they go to the 5 spot in the lineup for the senior Jake Reinisch. Walked his first time. Takes high and away, and it's ball 1 to start. 2 years ago, Reinisch led the ACC in walks, had an OPS near 1,000. Last year only started 19 games because he struggled, dealt with a knee injury early as well. This one is popped up toward third. Becker shades on, eyes skyward, ends the inning.
Across the country to play in Irvine's Regional just to start that run, then go on the road in Supers to beat Ole Miss and advance to Brian's first College World Series at Rosenblatt. And who do you play first? Well, of course, you play Paul Mainieri and LSU.
Yeah.
Made total sense.
Connect you with your old buddy. This is Bobby Whalen, 9-hole hitter for Virginia. Don't let that fool you, though. He's had a great season, the Indiana transfer, but he's behind 0-2 against Chase Burns. A sword and a strikeout for Burns. His 5th K. Cam Gill completes it, and there's 1 gone in the last of the third.
1 time through the order now, and Burns has given up the 1 hit, which obviously made this a 1-1 game. Just about gave another one up, but struck out 5 the first time through the order.
To the top, and Griff O'Farrell takes a strike. Farrell struck out looking on a curveball his first time against Burns. That's a strike. Couple of breaking balls second time through. Told you Burns entered the weekend second in the country in strikeouts. And he lands a backup breaking ball for strike 3 calls. Back-to-back Ks, and there's 2 down. This turn right here on ACCN. Anthony Stefan goes first pitch swinging, and he vaults this one onto the outfield grass. And Cam Nelson charges in, and that is 1-2-3 for Chase Burns in the last of the third. Cruises right through on 6 pitches.
Proud. I hadn't been here way too long. I hadn't been here in way too long, and this is such a great college town.
Jack Winay leads off, takes ball 1. It really is.
I told you this too. I realized again today how old I was, because when I was driving to the ballpark, I had totally forgotten that tomorrow was St. Patrick's Day. Apparently, those that attend the University of Virginia have not forgotten that tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day and decided to start a little bit early.
Who would?
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to roll down the window and high-five them all. Like that's why wouldn't you start?
Look at, we got plenty of green here. Graham Robinson's all over it, our director. Can we get you one of those?
You can give me anything you want, but I'm not going to wear it. You're happy to get it.
What would it take to get you to wear it?
Significant American money.
Okay. GoFundMe starting right now. 2-1. Winay lifts this one foul. This place is absolutely gorgeous.
It's awesome. Yeah.
This town, this campus, this ballpark.
We're walking up. There's a softball game going on. There's a lacrosse game going on. Everything before. I love these college settings to where you have so many different.
Winay in the air to left center field. Whalen and Didowick converge, and Whalen makes the catch for the first down.
Where you have so many different athletic facilities that are right in one place. Just because of the activity and the sight lines, it is well done here. And this place looks a little bit different than it did the last time I was here.
Fun talking with Brian O'Connor about the early days of this ballpark and this program. His 21st year at the helm, hired in 2003. Here's Austin Hawk, 7-hole hitter and second baseman. Struck out his first time on an elevated fastball from Evan Blanco. Brian O'Connor's first win at Virginia ended on a triple play that involved Ryan Zimmerman.
Really?
At a time when the coaches' wives were doing the post-game laundry at the Drury Inn. He says they have not stayed at a Drury Inn since. With all due respect.
Glad you dropped that in. Good folks from Drury are going to be hitting out.
2-1. They've got the Zimmerman hitting area here now in this facility. There's that number 11. 3-1 on Austin Hawk. So they're the younger brother of Tommy Hawk, drafted by Cleveland over the summer. By the way, their oldest brother, Rusty Hawk, goes to school at UNC Charlotte. Rusty, Tommy, and Austin. Full count.
Rusty Hawk. I don't think you mess around with Rusty Hawk.
I'm not.
No chance. Have you ever seen Rusty? I haven't met Rusty, but I want Rusty on my side. I know that.
10 out of 10 times. On the ground, O'Farrell dives and it caroms off his glove. And Austin Hawk, still a good name himself, he's on with one out here in the fourth. It was only the second 3-ball count from Evan Blanco. .65 pitches with one out in the fourth for Virginia's Saturday starting pitcher. Virginia pitching staff trying to find itself here early on, a couple of weekends into conference play. Cam Gill, the catcher, takes ball one after he grounded to short his first time in the second. The Wofford transfer getting his 10th start of the season. Cut and a miss. Good change up, 1-1.
He's shown today too. He's not afraid to back-to-back that thing. And he's not afraid to throw it down counts. Does it right there to steal a strike. 1-0.
Gill squares, pulls back, and that's called the ball. It prompts a little longer look home from Evan Blanco. Two-one. Gill slices this one toward the gap in right center field, and that is down and rolls toward the wall. Hawk gets the windmill around third, on his way to the plate, and it's a run-scoring triple for Cam Gill. And Wake Forest is in front in the fourth.
Cameron Gill has caught every one of Chase Burns' starts this year. One of the main reasons he's in there is just because of that, because he handles Burns' stuff really well. This time got one elevated, shoots the gap out in right center field, and Hawk had a good read on this. It's right out in front of him. He knows it's not going to get caught. Bill Salento over at third base was sending him the whole time, and Gill was following. That gives the Deeks the lead back here in the fourth.
And against Chase Burns, Virginia brings the infield in, and Cam Nelson takes ball one. Cameron Gill had been 0 for 15 against left-handed pitching this year before that RBI triple. Nelson grounded to second his first time in the second. The 1-0 takes a strike on a fastball from Blanco. Blanco readies and deals. Sails it high, 2-1 on Nelson. Nelson has been a very patient hitter. It's only his sixth start in his freshman season, but he's got 7 walks in limited work and leads the Wake Forest team in pitches seen per plate appearance. The 2-1 swings through the breaking ball, and it's 2-2. Couple of hits yesterday, worked one of those walks in the opener. 2-2 against Evan Blanco. The pitch. Down and away, and a full count on Nelson. '75th pitch of the day upcoming for Evan Blanco. The payoff. Upstairs, ball 4. Cam Nelson coaxes the walk out of the 9 spot. Wake's got him at the corners with 1 out. The lineup turns back to the top in Merrick Houston.
For the freshman, a good job of laying off the sliders. Blanco wanted to get him with the slider, got him to a 2-strike count, ran one just off the plate that Nelson took. Then that one 2 elevated right there, brings Houston to the plate with 2 on for him.
And it'll prompt a mound visit here from Virginia's pitching coach, Drew Dickinson. We mentioned this Virginia pitching staff. Here's the leadoff man for Wake Forest, the sophomore shortstop Merrick Houston. 1 for 2 with a single. Takes the first pitch on the outside part of the plate with a changeup to start out for strike 1. Houston coming off a hamstring injury, but back in there yesterday. 0-1. That's a strike, and Blanco motors ahead 0-2. Gill tripled, and then Nelson walked. 0-2. Houston rolls this one foul. It's been a much better second season offensively for Merrick Houston. Right away last year as a freshman, dazzled with the glove. Stabilized Wake Forest's infield defense. Trying to come through here in the 4th. 0-2 again. Houston strikes out. Fastball up the ladder from Evan Blanco for a big second out.
He's really good at this. Taking that fastball and getting it just up and out of the zone, and intentionally doing it when he gets to a 2-strike count. Landed the fastball earlier in that at bat to get it 0-2, and that time takes the fastball, runs it out again. I mean, he's 89-90 today. It's not the pure stuff that you see from Burns, but what I like when you watch Blanco is he really understands what he does best.
He's got 2 outs and now faces Javar Williams and drops in the off speed to start out with strike 1. Left on left with the Wake Forest freshman left fielder. It was grounded out to second and struck out swinging on another elevated fastball from Blanco so far. The 0-1, cut and a miss, and they will allow Nelson to swipe second and out 2 in scoring position. So Evan Blanco trying to limit the damage here in the 4th after the RBI triple from Cameron Gill. His 0-2 inside 1-2. What does he go to here? Left on left in a 2-strike count again against Williams. The 1-2 on the ground, gobbled up at first by Ford to the bag, got there in time. And
he has got the good stuff tonight. The only hit allowed, the solo home run to Godbound.
Casey Sauke takes a backup breaking ball for strike 1 to begin the last of the 4th. 3, 4, and 5 for Virginia. We asked Tom Walter how good was Burns last weekend with those 14 strikeouts against Duke. Said, I don't know how anybody ever gets a hit off this guy. He said it's right there in the category of Matt Harvey, Rhett Lauder, and oh yeah, Paul Skeens. Sauke went around, and Cam Gill completes the K. And this is the comparison in whiff rate and chase rate, Skeens to Burns.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, Skeens' year last year is in the Strasburg, Mark Pryor. I mean, there's Ben McDonald, you go all the way back. Like, you look at some of the best years that guys have had on the mound historically. Skeens had it last year. from a pure stuff standpoint, as far as swing and miss, Burns' stuff is better this year.
Here's Henry Ford, made a nice defensive play to keep this a one-run game. He struck out on a slider his first time. Freshman sensation for the Hoos. We were talking to Chase Burns about what it's been like at Wake Forest as well, and he said his first impression of Wake and the pitching lab was that it was going to be about all videos all the time. He said it's been a lot more personal, especially his relationships with the staff, than maybe he was expecting. 3-0 on 4. But he has bought into all of that, the videos, the biomechanical stuff, and figuring out how he moves and making him move more efficiently to get better command and a better fastball. 3-0. Bouncer foul.
3-0 green light right there. Thinking maybe that's the best one you're going to get. Sitting on a fastball to try to run another one out of here for 40. I think it's interesting listening to Chase Burns talk about just the information that you have available to you. Got to get him on the check swing. Not quite sure if it went right there. They're going to get him on the check swing. But it's one thing to have a bunch of information. It's another thing, A, to be open to it, and then B, to understand how to best utilize it. Yeah, it did look like 4 maybe went a little bit too far right there. And he's going to take another slider right down.
He's up the left fielder, Harrison Didewick. Lined out sharply to right his first time. 91-mile-an-hour changeup to start. Comes the 1-0 to Didewick. Cut and a miss. Breaking ball there. Some of the metrics beyond just the fastball velocity on that pitch are silly.
Yeah, the induced vertical break, which essentially is the carry on the fastball. We were talking to Corey Muscar about it today. When Chase Burns got there, it was somewhere around 17 or 18 inches, which what Burns wants to do with a fastball is live at the top of the zone and get guys to swing at it, because the ball doesn't have the normal sink that you would see from a right hand. Today, the induced vertical break, so the carry on the fastball, at times it's been 23 or 24 inches. Like, that is off the chart good when you look at it compared to what average is.
2-2 fastball is dotted. Coaching Chase Burns so far this year, and what have you seen specifically from him this afternoon?
Well, I'm really glad he's on our team. You know, he's special, and it's a special personality too. I mean, his work ethic and what he brings to the clubhouse as far as his electricity is just off the charts, and just love that young man.
Tom, we saw plenty of Nick Kurtz last year. Obviously, it wasn't the start that maybe some thought this year, and then the injury yesterday, which is going to keep him out a few weeks. How do you address that when your team, or with your team, when you see a guy like that they know they're not going to have for a few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, Nick's been as engaged as anybody in the dugout today. He's going to continue to be a great teammate and a great leader for us, and we'll anxiously await his return, but somebody's got to step up. I mean, that's the nature of our game, and last year we had some guys go down, and we had people step up, and we need that this year.
Tom, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tom.
One of the good guys in this sport, like both coaches in this matchup, and like many around this game.
Well, what a year they had last year. What was really cool when you followed Wake's year last year is obviously it was kind of better every week, but so was the fan base and the interest and people that maybe hadn't paid a lot of attention to Wake Forest baseball before that did at the end of the year last year, and that's obviously carried over this year.
Adam Tellier pops out to Henry Godbout to start the 5th for Evan Blanco. It's interesting talking with Wake pitching coach Corey Muscara pregame. Said it was like 3 months out of nowhere where they were the center of attention and everything happening in Winston-Salem. And that was brand new for everybody, not just player-wise, but coaching staff-wise. Seaver King pushes a bunt toward first, and he will reach with a bunt single right at Henry Ford.
This is just baseball IQ right here, because you got a left-handed pitcher who's going to fall third base side, so it's a lot tougher for him to make this play. And the only guy that has any chance is Ford, and I don't think he's got any chance even if he gloves it right there. For King, he's trying to push it that way, make sure that he forces the first baseman to vacate or go towards the mound to make the play. And I mean, it has to be timed up absolutely perfectly if you have any chance, but in that case, King's on with his second hit of the day.
D2 All-American who had a breakout summer, has continued it with Wake so far. Now Jake Reinisch. Breaking ball for a strike from Blanco. Corey Mosquera, by the way, told us pregame he is now off Twitter last 3 weeks. So you got all the noise, all the buzz. He has made a very healthy life decision to get off of Twitter. Long hold from Blanco, and he'll check on King.
It was also one of the more interesting responses to, can you tell me how to pronounce your last name? Because he gave you 3 options.
Yeah.
You don't hear that very often.
I wasn't expecting a multiple choice exam.
No. No, we can do it this way, and this is the way they say it because we're Sicilian, and this is the way they say it there, and this is the way my mom says it. All different.
They got King. The throw from Ford sails, and King is safe at second.
Okay, so advanced baseball IQ, take 2 right now. So recognize he's got the ability to push bunt the other way. If you're going to go against a lefty on first move, if he picks, you do not slow down. Put your head down, go, get inside the throwing lane, make it a little bit tougher for the first baseman. King steals a base right there on one with, you look up, you think he's going to get picked. Instead, he's standing on second base.
Projected top 10 pick, Seaver King now in scoring position with Wake up 1 in the 5th. 0-1 to Reinisch. And on the hands, and he skies this one to right center. Bobby Whalen's camped under it. King readies. Whalen the catch, and King will move up 90 to third base with 2 outs in the 5th. By the way, the proper answer is Mosquera. And I said, Corey, look, I've been looking to ask you this in person for 2 years. We're not even going to present the alternatives, of which there are a couple. Mosquera is what the parents say.
You got to go with that.
And it's what we're going
Mosquera.
with. For a guy known mostly, perhaps exclusively as Moose. All right, we've adjudicated.
He didn't give you a short answer, which he generally doesn't give you a short answer.
Ball 1 to Jack Winay. Corey Mosquera, the pitching coach for Wake. D1 Baseball's assistant coach of the year last season. So Wake by 1, man at third. The Deeks just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And that's a strike from Blanco. 1-1 the count on Jack Winay. Tom Walter said we're going to need guys to step up, and Jack Winay is certainly in that category. Moves from left field to first base. Hammers this one. Left field and gone. 2-run shot, Jack Winay. And he extends the Wake Forest lead.
Looks like Winay was just listening to Tom Walter right there. Hey, man, if Kurtz goes down, we got to have other guys that step up. Well, who's starting at first base today? Jack Winay is. That time took an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. They're trying to, looks like maybe go away, and that one just sneaks back middle in. And that is a short, easy move to the baseball. 104 off the bat, deep into the stands in left field, and it extends this Wake Forest lead.
7th of the season for Jack Winay out of Newton, Massachusetts. Guy who last year as a freshman only had 19 at-bats and 4 hits. Started just 2 games. One of them famously was against LSU when Nick Kurtz re-aggravated that rib injury. And when they came through with a hit off Paul Skeens, first one. Now he's embarking on a huge sophomore season.
Did you see Skeens faced Jackson Holliday the other day? And the kind of prospect spring training thing? Did you see Holliday's quote afterwards?
No.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Hawk pulls this one foul.
Skeens struck him out. He was, I mean, whatever, like 100 to 102 in the event.
Yes.
And they asked Holliday afterwards, you know, what was it like facing Skeens? He goes, I seriously think he was throwing 110. I've never seen anyone throw that hard. And he's not going to, he's not going to break with the club, which is crazy to me.
1-2. I mean, we were talking in Omaha in late June last year about would he be in the big leagues later that summer?
And I think if the Pirates were in the pennant race, that he would have been in the big leagues at that time. But I don't know what else you got to teach him. I think you just see how he can refine stuff at the major league level. But this spring training, man, he's looked amazing. Wyatt Langford's got a chance to make the club with the Rangers. By the way, they won the whole thing last year, so it's not like he's making the club with a team that wasn't very good last year. Langford's got 5 home runs in the spring already.
2-2. Full count on Hawk. Now, Wyatt Langford is one of the favorites for Rookie of the Year. And there was some talk about if he would come up at the end of last year. He and Evan Carter, a couple of good young outfielders for the Rangers. Payoff from Blanco. And Hawk pulls that foul. So 4-1 Demon Deacons trying to level up this series. Middle game against Virginia. Force a rubber game tomorrow. 99th pitch from Blanco. Outside, and Hawk works the walk. So a 2-out walk issued to the 7-hitter for Wake Forest here in the 5th. Chase Hungate is up in the bullpen for Virginia. And Ethan Anderson will amble out to the mound and buy a little more time. So we're talking about Skeens and Langford and LSU and Florida from last year. That, of course, was the finals matchup. What do you like most right now, sitting here in the middle of March this year in the country?
Probably Arkansas right now. Now, Arkansas has not been as offensive as some others, but on the mound they've been unbelievable. I mean, not just Hagen Smith, but top to bottom. I think they're shutting out. Yeah, they're shutting out Missouri again today. I mean, that's really going out on a limb. They're #1 this week.
Yeah, no, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Cameron Gill, first pitch swinging, slices this one foul. Any dark horses?
Yes, Florida State. I saw Florida State earlier this week against Florida. Obviously the only undefeated team in the country. They will be ranked this year or this week, I can promise you that. What I love about Florida State is they are very offensive, but they have 2 real aces on the weekend. Cam Leiter's been great.
On a hop to third, Eric Becker recovers and retires Gill. Noles are going to be ranked. KP's going to go out on a left. O'Connor joins us. Oak, can you describe the challenge of facing Chase Burns and what you guys set forth as your plan of attack against him?
Well, he's a super talented young man. You can see that. Obviously, great stuff, great fastball. His competitive spirit is really impressive and certainly can throw multiple pitches for strikes. You can't try to get too big against him, right? You think sometimes at velocity like this, you got to do more. You actually have to do less, you know, and so it's going to take a great effort for us to fight back in this, but I have confidence in our guys. They've come from behind all year long.
Oh, go back 21 years, man, when you got here, and now you look around the ballpark today, and it's sold out, and obviously you've had some amazing crowds here, but did you envision this, that it would look like this at some point?
No, you don't know. You know, you take a job 21 years ago to do the best job you can. We thought this was a special place, but you know, the fans, it's about them. They've rallied behind what's been done here, and the administration has been committed, commensurate with our success, and it's been a lot of fun just growing it every year, KP, and look at this stadium, look at this crowd, this beautiful day in Charlottesville, and it's a testament to what the commitment is that has been put to this program and what these players have done.
Oak, thanks for having us, and thanks for doing this.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
His Cavaliers down by 3 in the bottom of the 5th, facing Chase Burns.
We can't. It can't be as long as it's been for us to come back here. This is.
Amen.
This is a really cool place.
Virginia's won 47 of its last 53 in this ballpark. 3-1 to Godbout, and he works a walk. So he homers out Burns in the 2nd. Now a leadoff walk against him in the 5th. First walk issued by Chase Burns. Capacity here is 5,919. Park that opened in 2002. They set an attendance record here last season. Ended the year with 5 straight sellouts. Griff O'Farrell said they kept tweeting out the attendance. It was the same number. He says that's not possible. It was bigger every game. Ethan Anderson takes a strike at 97. Anderson reached on what was scored an error on Adam Tellier at third on a backside sharply hit ground ball in the second. Rolls this one at Austin Hawk. Goes to second for one. Houston to first off the bag. Anderson reaches with Jack Winney stepping in at first base today again for Nick Kurtz. Just pulled off the bag.
It's probably one of those, just with the size of Kurtz, that this is a double play if he's in there. Good feed, throws maybe a little bit high, but watch when he has to go up and get it. When he goes up to get it, that right foot comes off the bag. So Anderson clearly safe right there. What could have been a double play.
Shoulder injury for Nick Kurtz. If you're just joining us, here's Eric Becker. Takes ball 1. By the way, same shoulder that Nick Kurtz has had issues with before. Going back to the fall of his freshman season, tore his labrum. Then during that freshman season, dislocated that right shoulder diving for a ball. Had surgery before last season. A check on Anderson. We've got the preseason favorite in the Coastal, Virginia, as the favorite in the Atlantic in Wake Forest. Long hold, 1-0. Becker takes a strike, 96. Told you Becker's part of that third base platoon with Luke Hansen. Becker, the left-hand hitter, very high on him. Close over at first, but Anderson back to the bag. Brian O'Connor feels like Virginia's got 11 position players, 7 of whom are mainstays, and then you got 4 really good options for 2 spots. You made the point early on. Jacob Ferentz gets what, 3 hits, including a home run last night?
Yeah.
Not in there. Bobby Whalen's hitting about 500.
He had 3 hits yesterday. He's hitting 9th.
What a luxury. Burns 1-1 to Becker, and that's a fastball for a strike.
I know Burns, I mean, he shows a fair amount of emotion sometimes after strikeouts. It's still, it looks really easy coming out of his hand. I mean, some guys max effort to get to 98, 99. It doesn't look like that with Burns.
Is 1-2. Struck him out. 10th K for Chase Burns with 2 outs in the 5th in South Carolina. 9th career double-digit strikeout game for Chase Burns. And he starts out with ball 1 to the aforementioned Bobby Whalen in the 9th spot with 2 outs.
Florida State out in front of Notre Dame 4-2 in the 8th. Clemson trying to even that series at Duke this weekend, up 8-6 in the 7th.
Knee-high strike with a heater.
Means he punched out now 10.
Yes.
And we're still south of 70 pitches here in the 5th.
It's efficiency too.
He's only walked 1.
Whalen tried to check his swing, but went around. Every single appeal has been a swing against Virginia hitters. It's hard to even slow down your swing against Chase Burns.
Yeah, and it's just far enough. I think. I mean, we talked to Brian O'Connor about it, and you kind of heard it when you asked him that question about Burns. I mean, you really have to swallow your ego today if you're a hitter and you're facing somebody like Burns, because he's going to make you look bad a few times. Like that's just what he does. The stuff is that good, and it's cross it off the list, go back to work and see if we can run into one. I thought it was interesting that they were swinging 3-0 earlier. I think that's a pretty good indication. Like if we think we're going to get a fastball, go hunt it.
Good stop, runner on the move. Anderson slides in safely at second and moves into scoring position.
Virginia is really good at this, and this is Kevin McMullen, who's been there for so long. When they read dirt ball, they go. I mean, watch this break right here. We're not waiting to see where it goes. When Anderson reads dirt ball, and this is across this offense, they are off and running, especially if they're standing on first base.
Only their third base runner of the game. Whalen waits on the 2-2. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. Whalen strikes out, and Chase Burns racks up his. Looking like, should it stay this way over the final 4 innings, that Jay Woolfolk would go tomorrow if Wake Forest were to win. Force a rubber game. Long way to go. 9-1-2 for the Deacs. Starts with Cam Nelson. Grounded out to second and walked his first 2 times. 2-0. I mentioned the pitching injuries, some of the shuffle for Virginia. Big guy they're missing is Bradley Hodges, who had Tommy John earlier this month. Sophomore southpaw was going to be their Friday guy. 2-0. Nelson takes a strike. Joe Savino, a week before opening day, an Elon transfer, came down with a sore elbow as well. So look at Hodges. Looks like he's eating well in there. 3-1.
I think that's the only question for Virginia. They're going to hit enough, and they're going to defend enough. It's just, are they going to pitch enough as this season goes on? And you can see 2 of the big pieces that they will not have this year.
And big recruit Tommy Roldan blew out his knee in the summer. He's out for the year. You mentioned Savino. They thought he'd be in the rotation or maybe be the long guy in the pen. He's on the way back. He's in a progressive throwing program. Full count on Nelson. Works a walk out of the 9th spot to lead off the 6th. The other one is freshman Bryson Moore. First couple of weeks he threw really well. They thought he'd be a mainstay, but he's out right now. Brian O'Connor did tell us he'll be back, just not yet this weekend. Back to the top for Wake and Merrick Houston. Takes inside, a ball to start out from Hungate. Yeah, because you know the offense is plenty good.
They're going to hit
for Virginia, and athletic enough to defend as well.
They're going to hit, they're going to defend.
Brian O'Connor and Drew Dickinson, they've had some years like this the last few years where they do have to sort things out with their pitching, and they change some roles as the year goes on.
And they lost their entire rotation. I mean, you would expect it's going to take a little bit. What did we see before the game? 49 starts out of their rotation that they lost from last year. It is going to take it a while. I know Blanco didn't have his best day today, but Blanco's been really consistent on the weekend.
1-0. That misses as well. 2-0 on Houston. Jack O'Connor, part of that rotation last year as a freshman. He's in a different role right now.
He was really good yesterday.
Sure
really
was.
important yesterday. Back 3 innings for Virginia to get the game 1 win.
3-0. Too tight again on Houston. Brian O'Connor said to us about Jack O'Connor pregame. He's trying to throw it through the catcher. Like, he looks that intense on the mound, and the velo has been that good for the sophomore you see there. 3-0. There's a strike to Houston. Team last year 4th in the country in ERA. Cavaliers pitching staff. 3-1, and that rides high and tight, and it's back-to-back walks from the Virginia bullpen, and Wake Forest has a couple aboard, up by 3 in the 6th. So 2 aboard, and to the 2 spot in the Wake Forest lineup for the left fielder, the freshman Javar Williams. A couple groundouts and a strikeout against Blanco. First pitch, he squares and then pulls back on a fastball that's zipped high and tight. Tom Walter told us that with Javar Williams, you just get a different level of athlete in the lineup. 6'3" runner plus defender. Tom Walter said between him and Cam Nelson, historically, that athleticism we haven't had in our lineup.
They're both freshmen. See if they do it again right here. Wake Forest, a team that really doesn't sack bunt hardly at all. They've done it twice all season. Once was last night, the second hitter of the game, or at least the attempt. Williams was trying to do it right there.
So Ryan Ozinski up in the pen for Drew Dickinson, with Hungate laboring here in the 6th. Two on, nobody out. Williams squares again and fouled that one off himself while he was in the box. So it's 1-1. You got Chase Burns with a very manageable pitch count still. Looking dominant again. You got a 3-run lead, and Wake Forest is looking for more. The 1-1, Williams can't drop it down. 1-2. Nelson walked to start this inning. And then Merrick Houston did the same. Hungate trying to work his way back in this 6th. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string for the first down.
That's tough at bat for the freshman right there. Gets that low 3/4 look, sidearm look. It's usually a little bit easier for a left-handed hitter, especially if you're going to bunt. But he fouled 2 off, gets in an 0-2 count. Hungate goes to that changeup, which really is his best swing and miss pitch against the lefties. At a time that you really need a strikeout. First, second, nobody out, and he gets one right there.
Hey, you said it about the change. It proves to be the case, and there's 1 out for Adam Tellier in the 3 spot. Ball 1 to start out. Tellier an RBI single in the 1st. Single that he poked up the middle and blooped in the 3rd. And then he popped to second to lead off the 5th, all against Evan Blanco. That's a strike at the knees. Adam Tellier with 7 home runs. Had 10 home runs in his entire Ball State career. Nelson's back to the bag.
I don't think when they got him out of the portal, you would have thought he's going to come in and have a chance to hit you 15 to 20 home runs. Good fill-in spot. Obviously, it's a vet, so you trust him. The power has probably been the biggest surprise so far for Tellier.
Team leader in OPS. 1-2. There was 10 home runs in 572 plate appearances in Muncie, Indiana. Now 7 in Winston-Salem. Ball and 2 strikes. The count on Adam Tellier for Chase Hungate with 2 on in the 6th. The pitch fouled back. Of course, Wake, like Virginia, lost so much from last year's team. Brock Wilken, 18th overall. Bennett Lee, Tommy Hawk, Justin Johnson, Pierce Bennett, all drafted out of that lineup. 1-2 again. Tellier pulls it foul, and look out. Buzz the tower on Bill Salento. How would you like to be a ball attendant? You ever done that before? Sit down the line and left or right?
I've never done it.
Would you ever?
No, I don't think I would. No.
We'll work on that.
Would you work on my decision making on that?
Yes.
We'll turn you around.
Convince you of it. 2-2 on Tellier.
No, I'm haunted by growing up going to College World Series at Rosenblatt. The kid that used to run out, it was a slanted, sloped net behind home plate. So the ball would go back and it would roll back down. And then Chopper was the guy that would go out and try to make the play. Chopper was not a slight young man, hence the name Chopper.
Swing and a miss.
And when Chopper would make the play, 17,000 would go crazy for young Chopper. When Chopper would drop it, Chopper heard about it. And that has stayed with me my entire life. So, no, I don't want to be anywhere else on a field where I can get booed like Chopper used to.
That is sound logic.
Yeah, it's stuck with me for a long time.
Did not know it was going to be that profound.
Well, I don't know if it was profound, but it was wordy.
Seaver King goes first pitch swinging, fouls one off. So Tellier strikes out after Javar Williams struck out.
And this is big right here. I mean, for Wake, you get 2 on, nobody out. Now you go punch out, punch out. And for Virginia, because that pitch count's so low for Burns, I mean, he's probably got another 2 in him. You got to keep it tight because you're trying to get in that Wake bullpen, but it's not that it gets easy.
Nelson takes off from second and swipes third. So now at the corners for Wake. 2 outs here in the 6th.
I like Nelson's aggressiveness on the base pass. He stole a base the last time it was on right here. Steals it right in the face of Wingate, or excuse me, Hungate, that spins and really didn't pay much attention to him. A little bit surprised that Merrick Houston didn't follow the leader right there.
He stayed at first with Seaver King the batter. Singles his last 2 trips. This one comes up and in, and King gets hit by a pitch. So Wake Forest loads him up here in the 6th. You hope Seaver King is all right a day after Wake lost Nick Kurtz.
It got him on the backhand, didn't it?
I think so too, yeah.
Watch that right hand. A lot of times you see the lead hand that'll get hit. Get him on the wrist. Not a whole lot of meat right there to slow that one up. And I know that Hungate's not throwing 98 like Burns is, but that one still hurts.
Good to see a smile from Seaver King. And he's able to stay in the game. So, trouble continues for Chase Hungate. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 6th inning. Wake Forest already leads by 3. Jake Reinisch, the batter, out of the 5 spot. First pitch swinging, gentle ground ball to Godbout at second, and Hungate is out of Dodge. First 2 reach for Wake Forest.
11 strikeouts.
First pitch to start out the bottom of the 6th is a fastball for strike 1 to Virginia's leadoff man Griff O'Farrell, preseason All-American who has struck out twice. Corey Muscara said that he remembers Chase Burns as entering the portal when Wake Forest was still in Omaha. He said, "I was sitting in the lobby and Brock Wilken, of all people, texted Corey Muscara and said, 'We got to get this dude.'" Wave and a miss, 1-2.
Well, he had just left Omaha.
Yeah.
I mean, he being Chase Burns.
And then it wasn't, Tom Walter was telling us, until like a week later where they heard from the agent saying that there was interest from the advisor that, hey, there's some interest here.
He likes you.
In Burns going away.
He likes you. Well, guess what? We like him too, I think. A pretty good fit.
1-2 to O'Farrell. O'Farrell in the air to left field. Javar Williams got a good jump, and there's one away. Chase was telling us about just what the differences have been like. He said Tennessee was great. It's a pitching coach in Frank Anderson who is super accomplished.
Who he said he still has contact with.
He said to this day.
Yeah.
But he did say that Tennessee may be a little old school comparatively, and probably who isn't compared to Wake's pitching operation. Ball one to start out Anthony Stefan. But he has really fit in and unlocked some things mechanically. Stefan 0 for 2. Fastball for a strike. We got into the nitty-gritty with Chase Burns, talking about what has changed physically and having everything in sync and moving toward home plate with your delivery. And there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes, assessing how your body moves, the way it works, and trying to get it all in rhythm and working together. 2-1. Cut and a miss. Tom Walter said it clicked in January for Chase Burns. Understood how to rotate, how to use his lower half properly. And since then, it's more strikes and smaller misses when he does miss. 2-2. Stefan strikes out. A dozen Ks for Chase Burns with 2 down in the 6th.
Back to that hammer slider right there. And every once in a while, I'll have a little bit more side to side. Today, when it's been right, it has that. It's almost straight now. I mean, that is 87, 88 miles an hour. Looks like a fastball out of his hands. You got to dial up for 98, and then the bottom just drops out of it.
Brings up Casey Sauke. 0 for 2, couple Ks. Opening weekend for Chase Burns, it was 6 shutout, 10 strikeouts against Illinois. 2 weeks ago, 6 innings, 11 Ks against Binghamton. Last week, 14 over 6 against Duke. On the ground, foul. Entered today second in the country in strikeouts. And again, 4th on our Kiley McDaniels MLB draft rankings. His 83rd pitch. High to Sauke. Good breaking ball for a land strike. 2-2.
And that to me is so key, is his ability to land that pitch, to land that slider. So you can't just cross it off and say we're not going to swing at it, because he's got the ability to throw it for a called strike. Just about did it back-to-back times.
Just missed the edge, and it's a full count. Burns sitting on a dozen strikeouts here in the 6th inning against Virginia's 3-hitter Casey Sauke. 3-2 on the ground left side at Merrick Houston. Inning over. Jack Winney leads off the 7th with Wake Forest in front by 3 in this high-powered conference matchup here in the ACC. One of 5 ranked-on-ranked series this weekend. The only one between a couple of Omaha teams from last year. Winney against Chase Hungate, whose fastball just misses. 2-0. Tom Walter said Jack Winney has been as good a hitter as we've had. The at-bats have been consistent. There's been power. He has hit to all fields. Drives this one in the air to center. Whalen goes back to the wall, and that ball is gone. Second home run of the day for Jack Winney, and he adds to the Deacs' lead in the 7th.
Have a day, Jack Winney. 2-run shot that made it a 3-run ball game in his previous at bat. This time he's going to take it out to the biggest part of the ballpark, fastball, and you can see that natural action that Hungate's going to get on the fastball. Is going to work in towards a right-hander. That one just didn't get in far enough. Inner third, Winney extended. 2 home runs today, now 8 on the year for Jack Winney.
4:05 the distance for Winney. Tom Walter said to us, he's got 2 of his home runs to straightaway center field. And he said, I haven't seen many balls hit like those home runs were from Winay. 0-1 to Austin. Hawk is down. So no Nick Kurtz, and Jack Winay is stepping up offensively for Wake. Hawk is singled and walked after striking out his first time. Rolls this foul. Opener yesterday, a 16-10 Virginia win. Virginia got 7 in the second, 8 more in the 6th. Wake allowed 8 unearned runs. Josh Hartle didn't get through 2. And Virginia scored 13 of its 16 runs with 2 outs. And now Wake trying to even up this series here on Saturday. Another 1-2 to Hawk. And he strikes out looking. 1 away. So 1 down, bases empty, brings up Cam Gill. A couple ground outs, sandwiched around an RBI triple to the right center gap for the Wofford transfer. Wake trying to replace Bennett Lee, who got drafted by the Tigers in the 6th round, behind the plate. Breaking ball outside. Gill, a really good thrower and blocker, and as you said earlier, does a good job with Chase Burns. And has shared time with Virginia transfer Tate Ballestero. 2-1.
I don't think that can be overstated either. I mean, we talk about the stuff of Burns and how hard it is to hit it. Well, it's not really easy to catch it either.
No.
I mean, reaction time and the movement, and it makes it easier this year for Burns because he's been around the zone so much more, and especially today. But it's not an easy task to be 60 feet away when you're just trying to catch it.
3-1. You know, not with Burns, but last weekend, Friday against Duke, it was interesting. Tom Walter did say that Wake catching, and it was Gill behind the plate, they were tipping location just based on where the catcher was setting up. I went back and looked at it and did determine that. Gill works a walk. 1 out base runner for the Deacs in the 7th, up by 4. Wednesday, 6 Eastern, right here on ACC.
Day. Riley Hughes, the only guy that potentially could have pitched today, which he is not, for Winthrop. So now Burns on the year. Does he have how many today? 12?
A dozen through 6.
12. So yeah, 55 strikeouts now on the year. Tops in the country.
Riley Hughes, all name team.
Has to be. Yes.
He's been massive so far this year. Here's Cam Nelson. Home run from Winay, strikeout from Hawk, walk for Gill, all against Chase Hungate. Came on in the 6th. You would not expect Wake Forest to lose many Saturdays this season.
No. No. I mean, you want to talk about just stuff-wise. We've talked about Hagen Smith from Arkansas. 23 innings, 50 strikeouts. Giving up 8 hits. 50 strikeouts in 23 innings.
And he is surging up draft boards with what he's done. I was texting with Kylie McDaniel this week. A couple of weeks ago, he had Hagen Smith, I think 30th.
He's not 30th anymore.
Assuredly top 10, if not higher.
Velo's jumped a little bit too. I mean, He's mid to upper 90s consistently right now.
And then the breaking ball has been pretty sick.
Yeah. The opponent's hitting 108 against Hagen Smith this year.
Full count. It's a slider for him, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And pretty firm, upper 80s.
Yeah. It plays. It works out well.
It's got a different shape than Burns. Maybe not as much depth to it.
Arkansas, similar to Wake, is really analytical on the pitching side too. Matt Hobbs, their pitching coach, came from Wake, and so a lot of the stuff that Arkansas does is similar things that he was doing before he got to Arkansas. But they have turned Hagen Smith into one of the best in the country.
Nelson on the ground, 2-0 Farrell. Godbout's turn, not in time. Cam Nelson runs well enough at 6'3" to stay out of 2.
He can really run. I mean, that ball was hit fairly hard, and for most, this is going to be a fairly routine 6-4-3. And Cam Nelson beat it by a step and a half. They got some exciting freshmen at Wake.
Manning the corner outfield spots today. Javar Williams, Cam Nelson, who's on for the 3rd time, had a couple of walks earlier. And to your point, has stolen a couple bases. Here's Merrick Houston. All right, so head to head, Burns and Smith. Who would you take if you were drafting?
Okay, so kind of like last year, all right? You had Skeens, from a college guy standpoint, you had Skeens, Cruz, Langford. I think last year was a really good year to pick 3rd or 4th. Because any of them that you get, you're happy with. I mean, the Rangers picked 4th and they got Wyatt Langford. He's got a chance to break with the big club. Yeah. You know, less than a year after that. I think this is a similar year. Like, if you look one or the other, I think you're elated to have either one. I'm not sure that one jumps out more than the other. One's left-handed, right-handed, swing and miss is there. Burns' jump this year in control as opposed to last year has been great. I'm going to talk for a really long time and not answer your question and hope that somebody grounds out and ends the inning right here.
It's a grade A filibuster.
Yeah, it's a grade A problem if you're picking, and those are your 2 choices.
And a lot still to be decided, obviously. You got those 2 guys, pitching-wise, at the top of the charts.
I think you'd find a split. I think if you talk to scouts, you'd have close to half that would say Hagen Smith, and you'd have close to half that would say Chase Burns.
And again, 30 scout tickets issued today for a Chase Burns start.
Stock didn't go down today, by the way.
Osinski works here in the 7th with a 1-1. Runner on the move, the throw. Got him. Cam Nelson caught stealing. Did Henry Godbout keep the tag on? Yes, he did. The call is confirmed, and Ethan Anderson throws out Cam Nelson. So Virginia's got to solve Chase Burns, and it will start with the Charlottesville native, Henry Ford, who has starred in year 1 on the grounds for the Hoos. Virginia's cleanup man Henry Ford was born in Charlottesville and came to his first game here at the Dish when he was 2 or 3 months old. Brian O'Connor said to us he was a Little League legend. He would do this routinely for McIntyre Little League here in Charlottesville. Brian O'Connor said he would hit 2 home runs in a game, and then in the 3rd at bat, he would go up bat left-handed, and he homered 3 different times left-handed.
That's what we were telling Oak. All right, if he hits 2, we want to see the Little League move again. Send him up there left-handed the 3rd time up. Let's see what it looks like. This kid's going to be a star, man. He is going to be a star. He's hitting the middle of this lineup from day 1. Was doing the Jacksonville tournament a few weeks ago and was doing it with Darren Vaughn. We were talking about Henry Ford. And I said, all right, over under home runs he hits in his Virginia career.
What did you, I'm going to guess you set the over-under at around 50.
I put it at 50, and I think it may be low.
That's down. He works a walk against Chase Burns to lead off the 7th. Yeah, so he had the Virginia uniform on early. A couple of years at St. Anne's Belfield here in Charlottesville before off to finish high school in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we might be taking the over. Leadoff base runner, and here's Harrison Didowick. It's only the 2nd time in 7 innings the leadoff man's been on for the Cavaliers. Henry Godbout worked the walk as well to start the 5th inning. Didowick has lined out to right and struck out looking on 100. Fastball on the edge at 95 for a strike. Didowick entered the day with 8 home runs, tied for 3rd most in the ACC. He's behind 0-2. Got off to a roaring start to the season. Homered in 3 of the first 4 games. And earlier this month, homered in 4 straight. 0-2. Down and away on a breaking ball from Burns. Burns readies his 95th pitch of the day. Swing and a miss. Burns with his 13th strike. Here's Henry Godbout, who has homered and walked a couple of times against Burns.
Well, let's see if the stuff ticks back up a little bit for Burns. It didn't tick down too far, don't get me wrong, but now you start to smell the finish line. He knows this is his last inning. Get the punch out right there to get him to 13 on the day, and now you're facing Godbout, who is the only guy with a hit today, and the reason that Virginia's on the board, his solo home run in the 2nd, all the offense that the Hoos have had so far.
And remember how Burns finished last week against Duke. Second to last pitch was 101. The 1-1. Godbout lifts this one in the air to right. Cam Nelson's there, and there's 2 down. So you can certainly sense the finish line. And Chase Burns is trying to match a career high by going 7 here today. .98 pitches as Ethan Anderson climbs in. Preseason All-American. Watches the first pitch buzz in at 98 from Burns. Burns has been fabulous. A couple of walks, just the 1 hit. The home run from Godbout in the 2nd, lifted to left. And the 13 strikeouts. His 0-1 misses at 98 with a heater. One to Anderson. Breaking ball misses the back door. 2-1. Burns deals it 2-1. That's a strike. 2-2. Still carrying 98 north of 100 pitches. And Chase Burns for a 2nd straight Saturday is looking for 14 strikeouts to finish his day. 2-2. Fouled off by Anderson. 99 still in the tank.
103 pitches on the day, still right near 100 in velocity.
It was 99 pitches for 14 Ks last weekend in Winston-Salem against Duke. Another top 20 team now on the road this weekend. In the 7th, the 2-2. Bouncing ball foul. Chase Burns will get a visit here from his backstop, Cameron Gill. He has gone berserk coming off the mound a few times in his career. I wonder what emotion you'll see from Chase Burns. He's been pretty calm throughout this start. And the veins popping last week in Winston-Salem, exiting in the 6th. Now here in the 7th. 2-2 to Anderson. He's fouled off again. No, that's a fair ball down the line for Anderson. Ford races around to third. Williams gets to it in the corner, and it's a double. Tucked down the line by Ethan Anderson off Chase Burns. What a battle that was against Chase Burns.
It was, and he got him on a changeup. I mean, this is 88 miles an hour, and that is a really good job. When you got to dial up for 98, 99, like Anderson had to in this at bat, and then stay in there just long enough to barrel it up. Backside line drive right there for Anderson. If there's one pitch, and I understand Burns has been so good, if there's one pitch that you would want back today, it's that one, just because.
Off the 7th. Against the freshman Eric Becker. First pitch swinging, fouled away. A fly out to right and a strikeout swinging for the Thiels, New York native Eric Becker. The 0-1. That's down and away. A ball and a strike. Second and third in the 7th. The 1-1. In the air, left field, down the line, and that tails foul. It's a career high in pitches for Chase Burns. 2-strike count with 2 outs in the 7th. Bouncing ball up the middle, and Houston gloves and ends the inning. 8th inning starts with Wake Forest still up by 4 on Virginia. Wake is 11-0 when leading after 7. Ryan Osinski against the top of the Wake lineup, and Merrick Houston stings one to right in front of a sliding Casey Sauke, and it's a leadoff single for Houston, his 2nd hit and his 3rd time aboard. Burns does get to the finish line, and Wake trying to do the same and even up this series. Here's Javar Williams, promoted to the 2-hole in the lineup today for the Deacs. First pitch swinging, slice to left, and it plops down in front of Harrison Dedewick. And a quick couple of singles for Wake Forest to start the 8th inning.
Good sign for Williams right there. Had a good offensive day yesterday. You talked about him getting moved up into the 2-hole. Was 0 for 4 today with a couple of punch outs, but gets on there with a single.
And we get a true meeting of the minds here for Wake Forest offensively. Tom Walter chatting with Adam Tellier, the 3-hitter. He's 2 for 4 in this game with an RBI single back in the 1st. Tellier, the Wake leader in OPS, against Ryan Osinski. Right on right in the first pitch. is just south of the knees with a heater at 92. Tellier a pop out to second and a strikeout swinging his last couple of trips. Squares and pulls back, and it's ball 2. He's shown to be a very good bunter already this season. Corners creep in. He's swinging, and it's yanked foul.
Across the ACC today, Clemson evens it up with Duke 8-7. That's big on the road right there. We talked next weekend, Florida State, Clemson. Noles still undefeated, 4-2 over your Domers today.
Tellier bunts this one foul. Anderson's throw does not get Houston. That's a heck of a series, Duke and Clemson.
Yeah, how about Duke? I mean, you open on the road in league at Wake. Then you get Clemson the next weekend. I mean, it's kind of like Wake. You get Duke and then Virginia to start things off.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Osinski deals. And this one caroms away from Anderson. And both runners move up. And now 2 in scoring position. So Florida State has locked up a series. It's still perfect. Infield in. 3 balls and 2 strikes against Adam Tellier. Pulled foul. Osinski, the Alexandria, Virginia native, working in the 8th. 3-2 again. Tellier pops it foul. Osinski, the closer last year at Bucknell. 8 saves and a 2.37 ERA. Better than a strikeout per inning. Another payoff pitch. And Tellier strikes out. Osinski wins the battle, and there's 1 away in the 8th.
A good battle right there, and a good one to end it with. 3-2 sliders, who just fouled the fastball off before this. Ball that probably would have been ball 4, but Tellier saw fastball, went after it that way, and Osinski gets a giant strikeout right there with 2 in score position.
And 1 away now for the cleanup man for Wake Forest, Seaver King. A couple singles, including one via the bunt. He got hit by a pitch on the right hand or wrist area his last time. Ethan Anderson visits Ryan Osinski. Well, while we have a moment, we remind you that ACC PM with Mark Packer and State and Carolina and DC. They're going to walk Seaver King, and that draws the lefty Jake Reinisch. Brian O'Connor and Drew Dickinson do have left-handed activity out in the bullpen. Gets the senior Jake Reinisch, who is 0 for 3 with a walk so far today. First pitch breaking ball, down and away, ball 1.
Let's see a shift with the infield in very often. But Virginia doing that right now. They got 3 infielders on the right side. So that entire, I mean, essentially you hit a routine ground ball to shortstop right now, it's going to score 2 runs.
That misses, and it's 2-0 from Campshire to Reinisch. You got O'Farrell all the way over. And Eric Becker alone on the left side. 2-0. There's a strike. Small sample size, but Reinisch has been excellent against left-handed pitching this year. 9 for 18 with a couple of home runs. The 2-1 outside and got away from Anderson, but no movement from Wake Forest, and Houston at third. So now it's 3-1, and there's nowhere to put Jake Reinisch. Houston, Williams, and King aboard. Captures 3-1. It's a walk. It's a 6-1 Wake Forest lead as Jake Reinisch draws the bases loaded free pass. Well, Jack Winay. Jack Winay, we showed you, has homered twice. First pitch, ball 1. You think Jaxel's a really important piece?
I think he is. And I know he hasn't been very good so far this year. Last year he was really good. It feels like for this Virginia team that we talked about, if there is a dent, the dent is on the mound. If they're going to make a run as deep as their offense can allow them to, I feel like Jaxel's got to be an important part out of this bullpen.
Brian O'Connor told us just in a little bit of a funk right now. Nice year last year as a freshman. Just hasn't been the same the last couple of weeks. It's a good fastball there at 91 to Winay. Working on some mechanical things with him. But Brian O'Connor said we've got to get him right. Winay skies this one to the left side. With the infield fly rule in effect, there's 2 down. It's just hard to work through things, change things mechanically when you're in ACC action.
It is, but sometimes it just takes once. It takes once to go back out there, feel right, and then it's amazing what your mind will do to you after that. And whether it is all right or not, if you think that it is, usually the outcome's going to be a little bit better.
2 down for Austin Hawk. Similar to what on the Wake Forest side Josh Hartle's going through right now, where they're trying to work through mechanical things with him, and he's going out there and doing that on Friday nights now the last couple of weeks.
In this league. Yeah, that is not an easy place to try to get things dialed back in.
There's a strike. Tom Walter and Corey Mascara did say to us that Hartle's frustrated by the last couple of weeks, but they do think that they have figured out what the fix needs to be.
And really it's getting his cutter and curveball back to where it was before. I mean, that's the other stuff is fine, but those 2 things are when Hartle's going, those are the 2 that have really been solid, and they've been a little bit inconsistent this year.
Hawk in the air, right field. Sauke backs up, and the inning is over. Jaxel's fired.
Clean for the Deeks all day.
So Ray takes over for Chase Burns. Wave and a miss for Bobby Whalen. So just 2 hits for Virginia. Put up those 16 runs yesterday. Whalen toward left center, falling fast, and Seaver King makes the sliding catch.
This outfield has to be defensively one of the fastest in the entire country. I mean, Seaver King can play anywhere. He's played short, he played third last night, he's playing center field tonight, but he was flying to this. And the 2 guys in the corner, we've already seen them run today. The freshman Javar Williams and Cam Nelson. Yeah, that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable when the ball goes in the air of the outfield.
Nelson made a fine catch in right. King right there. Last night, Javar Williams robbed a home run. This is on the ground to short. Sliding stab, Houston. The throw. No tag on Griff O'Farrell. So Griff O'Farrell reaches for the first time today with a 1-out infield single in the 8th inning for Virginia.
That's still pretty smooth by Houston. I mean, he goes backhand side. Watch how fast he gets up, and the throw is there in time, just up the line enough that When A can't catch it, get the tag down in time. Should go as an infield single right there for O'Farrell. Just the 3rd hit of the night for Virginia.
Brings up Anthony Stefan. Yeah, they're happy to see Burns gone.
Yeah, this is one of those nights, just anybody but that guy. Like, I don't care if Billy Wagner comes running out of the bullpen out of nowhere. At least it's not Burns today.
Give me the lefty.
Yeah.
On the ground to first. Winne to the bag. The throw. No tag in time on O'Farrell. 2 down. By the way, how about this? Last pitcher against Virginia to punch out at least 13 was the aforementioned Stephen Strasburg in 2009 in that regional that you were talking about early
Which
in the
won.
tenure.
They won that game.
He punched out 15. Strasburg did. But Virginia got the win. So Stefan retired. Here's Casey Sauke. Ball 1 from Ray. It was a 5-1 win in the opener of that regional in 2009. Even though Strasburg 7 innings, 2 earned, no walks, 15 punchies. Sauke cuts through it, 1-1. Sauke had the stud freshman season, freshman All-American. Then last year, the OPS 810, just 4 home runs, which Sauke has already exceeded this season with home runs. He's had the best walk to strikeout ratio of his career as well in 3 years here. 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So this is back to business for Casey Sauke, who has always oozed with potential, tools. He knew the power was there as well. Will Ray's 2-2. Sauke strikes out. It's a punch out for Ray, and attendance figures in recent years. Forthcoming, we promise. That's a strike to Cam Gill. Kevin Jaxel still working for the Hoos. 8-9-1 for Wake up by 5. $5,919.
It's a popular number.
It's called Keep the Fire Marshal on your team.
Yep. It's amazing. We did it again. Right on the number, we did it again. See how good we are. Ad behind home plate in the history of behind home plate ads. For the love of bacon. Just very straightforward and accurate.
On a line to right. And Gill flies out to Casey Sauke. Is that still in your Twitter bio? Your love of bacon?
Yeah. I mean, it's still accurate. So why would I change it?
Who doesn't, honestly?
If so, I don't talk to him.
I know very few, if any.
Yeah, no, I've set that as a life absolute. If you don't like it, it's probably not for me.
It's mildly offensive.
If you don't like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just turn around and walk away. Like, don't even say anything else. Just leave.
Has that been up the whole game? It can't have been up the whole game, can it?
No, it couldn't have, because I promise you I would have seen it. But, yeah, I mean, that gets me locked in. Like, I was locked in already because the game's been really good, but you drop that behind home plate, we are dialed directly in right now.
Yeah. Here comes a 2-0 pitch. It's up high from Jackson. Virginia Tech basketball at Castle Coliseum. If you miss the free throws, everyone gets bacon. This is the Commonwealth Clash counter. 3-0. 4-pitch walk. Cam Nelson has walked 3 times and a 1-out base runner for Wake up 5. There's also been a persistent smell at this ballpark today.
Is it waffle cones? Is that what that is?
I believe so.
That's like mean.
It's in the ice cream family for sure.
I mean, they should force that to not waft into the booth.
Do you believe we've gone this far? We've now mentioned ice cream, and we hadn't mentioned Stephen Schoch.
It's too bad. Well, now we have.
Consider it done. Steve, if you're watching, we're good with Dippin' Dots, but the waffle cone smells better.
Yeah.
1 on, 1 out, 9th inning. And Merrick Houston waiting on a 1-0. But Kevin Jackson was determined not to throw, keeping Cam Nelson with a couple of bags already today at bay. Finale's tomorrow. You can watch it on ACC Network Extra at 1 o'clock. Yeah, that's so.
Old Jerry and Ben back at it right below us.
Jerry's got it wafting up.
Yep.
At this gorgeous venue. Great crowd has remained throughout. We have a spacious press box and broadcast booth, by the way.
Well, this setup's phenomenal. Got a bathroom.
Yeah.
Right in the booth.
As you pointed out, there are some esteemed ballparks at the highest level of this sport where that's not the case.
Most.
Houston pokes it into center field, and he's got his second base hit in as many trips and as many innings. Part of a 3-hit day plus a walk for Merrick Houston out of the leadoff spot for Wake Forest.
And he's such an important part of this lineup. I mean, obviously defensively out at short, but now reached base 4 times, doubled and scored in the first on the ball that got lost in the sun that kind of started things for Wake. But now he's on there again.
In front of Javar Williams. Singled his last time, 1 for 5. And with Merrick Houston, you knew what the defense was going to be. And it was so good they just needed him in the lineup every day last year. But Tom Walters said before this season that Merrick Houston has made a huge jump offensively, and he thought the at-bats were just a lot better. Sort of sensed this was coming.
Yeah, hit right at 220 last year. His freshman year was hit 9th, was in there for the bat. The OPS at the end of the year was like 650. This year it's up about 200 points.
He's 1 of 2 on for Williams. Runner goes. Williams pulls it into right field. A base hit, and Nelson comes in to score. It's an RBI single for Javar Williams, and the freshman adding to the Wake Forest lead in the 9th.
Well, and you see it again with Nelson. So it's a fastball inner half. It kind of drifts, I guess, out. And you can see Anderson coming up because Cam Nelson was off and running, which he's done consistently today. Was thrown out once. This time that action with the single allows Nelson to come around and score and add to the Wake Forest lead.
Wake had been 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position before that swing from Javar Williams. Ball 1 to Adam Tellier. So finale tomorrow shapes up to be a rubber game. Should Wake Forest hang on here. Hot shot, and it caroms past O'Farrell into center. Houston scores. Williams first to third, and Wake Forest adds to the lead here in the 9th inning.
Talk about the dangerous Virginia offense, and it absolutely is that. Wake can do some things on their own. Put 10 on the board yesterday, and now 14 hits for Wake. They've scored in 5 separate innings today. Last one 103 off the bat.
Part of a 3-hit day for Adam Tellier. He threw a bullpen on Thursday. And earlier this year, the hamstring, in the words of Tom Walter with us, just kind of gave out on him. Seaver King swings through the first one with runners at the corners. And Tom Walter made it seem like it's going to be a little up and down. Like you don't always know how it's going to be for Massey the next few weeks.
I mean, those are tough ones because the only time a hamstring injury goes away is when you don't do anything for a long time. It can nag the entire year. This really isn't the time of the year that you can just sit somebody down for 3 weeks. You know, you hope that it's good enough and doesn't progressively get worse. If it gets a little bit better every week, I think that's the best you can hope for.
2-1. And that's what the training staff has told Tom Walter. Can't get worse for Michael Massey. And he said, yeah, probably at another time of the year, we would shut him down. But also, Wake's pitching staff compared to last year is obviously in a much different spot. So can't really afford to. You've had so many injuries in the bullpen as well. Fouled away. So Tom Walter said there might be some 5- and 6-inning outings from Michael Massey, and there might be some that are shorter than that. Might be a couple innings here, 3 innings there, as that hamstring gets back to full health for Mike Massey. King rolls this one softly to first. Ford's play is to first. Williams scores from third, and it's now 9-1 Wake Forest.
First chance seeing Seaver King in person, man, and I know this is just kind of a routine ground ball. Ends up scoring a run, but this kid's got a chance to be has a chance to be dynamic. He is dynamic. We saw the play out in center field early. Can change things with the bat, but new coming over, he was one of the premier transfers in the country, and we
should all be back by April 1st at the latest. And that's huge. I mean, you think about a guy in Cole Rowland drew the nation's attention as the tweaking deacon and was projected to be their closer.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're Tom Walter, you want to fast forward like 3 weeks. The good news is when you get him back, you still got about half of the ACC season to go. You just kind of have to weather it until you get to that point.
While trying to sort through Harnell's mechanics, Massey's health, but you still have
Kurtz's injury.
Yeah. You do still have 2 months left in the regular season to sift through all of that. Jake Reinisch in the air to left center. Harrison Didewick there, and the inning is over. Wake Forest adds to the lead with 3 in the 9th and leads by 8. Last licks for Virginia after this. Cavaliers starting with Henry Ford against Will Ray. First pitch roller to third, and Tellier throws across the body for the first out. So we talked about Mike Massey in the Wake pitching situation. Jay Woolfolk coming tomorrow for Virginia.
Yeah, you would think, right? I mean, not using him tonight. I know Virginia hasn't announced, but kind of felt like we talked to Brian O'Connor. If we get a chance to win today, Woolfolk's going to be in the game. If we don't, he's going to be in the game tomorrow, and he's probably going to start it. I saw him up on the mound. I think he was just doing some mental stuff there when Jackson was warming up. He definitely wasn't throwing. Somebody would have gone on a dead sprint out to that bullpen if he was throwing down 6 in the 8th.
Sit down. Harrison Didewick, the batter. You saw Jay Woolfolk earlier this year down in Jacksonville.
He was great. I mean, that was after first start of the weekend. You know, obviously, bullpen guy last year wants to move into the rotation, not playing football anymore. In his first start of the year, he wasn't very good. But when he came out of the pen in Jacksonville, he was outstanding.
1-2. He's a big piece for them as well.
Massive piece. In whatever role it is.
Yep.
I mean, you could see him. He may migrate back into that starter role, but it's a huge advantage for Brian O'Connor if you got somebody that has the ability to do either.
1-2. Rolled, and it beats the shift for Diduik. Down the left field line in a big turn, but just a single. And Harrison Diduik is on for the first time with 1 out in the 9th inning.
That ball's probably 6-8 inches off the plate right there, off that low 3/4 action from Ray. The two-seamer's going to move away from the left-hander. Diduik just let it travel, get real deep, shot it the other way.
Will Ray still vibing out there on the mound. As we get pinch hitter here for Virginia. That first pitch swinging. And that is fouled away. Antonio Perota pinch hitting here in the spot of Henry Godbout. Homered and walked. Ball and a strike from Ray. By the way, more baseball action you can watch tomorrow here on ACC Network. Virginia Tech Louisville finale. I believe the great Mike Rooney will be on the call for that.
Is he now?
Yeah. I think a little duopoly there with him and Clay Matvick. A couple of greats.
I like that tandem.
The great Mike Rooney. The fabulous Roondog himself. It's outside 2-2 from Ray. And coming up after we go final here, we will get you to the ACC Hoops crew, Kelsey Riggs and company, standing by. In the air, right field, and struck well by Perota. Back to the wall, and gone! Second career hit and first career home run. The DC native goes yard here in the 9th inning.
Well, you like the move too there to go left against this action array. It is tough on right-handers, but for lefties you see that ball right out of his hands, and a great job by Perota, the freshman. Recognized fastball, drive it just far enough out to right center field. Get Virginia back within 6.
Out of Georgetown Prep, the DC native has got great bloodlines to UVA. His mother Dina, an All-American soccer player here in the 90s. All ACC selection. And now Antonio starting off his career in a big way and transfer. We'll come on and get Anderson to start. Wake's bullpen so good last year. Part of that entirety of a pitching staff that was downright dominant for the Demon Deacons. Four years at Maryland for David Falco. Almost 50 innings last season. Anderson had the backside double his last time back in the 7th. First pitch, he fouls it off. We're talking about Cole Rowland, who's on his way back. Hudson Lee is throwing live to hitters. Guy who had Tommy John in high school, was a good recruit. Crawford Wade is getting there as well. Been trying to get that elbow right since early last year. It's a funky thing for Cole Rowland, Corey Mosquera was telling us, like a stress reaction in his wrist.
Yeah, one that it took him a while just to figure out exactly what it was. You don't see that injury. I mean, I've never heard of that injury from a pitching standpoint.
Anderson trickles one in front of home plate, and Gill bare hands for out number 2. And Wake Forest is 1 out away from pulling even in the weekend series. It'll be great when he comes back for Wake Forest.
Yeah, I mean, if we're doing this game in 3 or 4 weeks, we could be calling some very different names that are coming out of the Wake bullpen at that point.
David Falco for now. Antonio Parada had the 2-run home run, first of his career earlier this inning. But Virginia now down to its final out. Becker's 0 for 3. Talented freshman with a bright future here in Charlottesville. Backdoor breaking ball, and Wake Forest is 1 strike away. Oh-2. Dotted for strike 3 called, and Wake Forest takes down Virginia and knots up this series at a game apiece.
Pretty impressive day for Chase.
Yo, ain't no battle within the fight we can't ignore against our own demons on the internal war. From the depths that plague us to the fears that bind, we're that constant struggle in the depths of our mind. The voices of insecurity that scream so loud, but we'll drown them out with our courage proud. Through the trials and tribulations, we'll stand tall. In the face of adversity, we'll never fall. It's a struggle within against our own doubt, but we'll fight through the darkness and find our route. In the battle against ourselves, we'll find our might and emerge victorious in the shining light. It's a journey of self-discovery, a quest for truth to break free from the chains of our own youth. We'll push beyond limits and reach for the sky. In the fight against ourselves, we'll never say die. Through the ups and downs, we'll persevere, overcoming obstacles without fear. For the greatest battle we'll ever face is the one within in this human race. It's a struggle within, against our own doubt. But we'll fight through the darkness and find our route. In the battle against ourselves, we'll find our might and emerged victorious in the shining light. So as we face the challenges that lie ahead, let's remember the strength that lies within instead. For in the fight against ourselves, we'll find our truth, and in the struggle within, we'll find our youth. Yeah, in the melody of life, let's take a stand against our own demons hand in hand. For in the battle against ourselves, we'll rise and conquer our fears, reaching for the skies.